Hello, everyone. This is Roz Henderson. We have a new name change, as many of you notice. We're now catering to the resistant, sales resistant entrepreneur who wants to make a consistent living because I am calling my people to me. I want you to be able to really experience that financial empowerment of being able to regularly make income. But we need to be able to get the insecurities and the fear. We need to dwarf that so that we can begin to become much more confident and sell. And just to let you know, my backstory really quickly, I was someone definitely who hated sales. When I got into being an entrepreneur, I was into teaching. I was a teacher for 30 years and I ran a business alongside that. I was a leadership trainer and I discovered, selling. I think I'll do other things. And I focused on other things in my business, polishing social posts, for instance, or you could find me going to one conference after another, marketing, branding, you name it. I'm doing everything but doing what I'm supposed to do because one coach told me, and I believe is very true, that 80% of our time should be spent on money generating activities. Well, I failed to do it and my business was in jeopardy. Now, luckily, I got coached, and that was a game changer. To get professionally coached in sales meant that I now understood a system, and I was beginning to learn how to master this system. I was working on my mindset because I had some old junk that needed to be transformed in here. They got in the way of execution. And when I began to work on those things, and I used the tools to create my first presentation, I was able to close a $2,500 sale. I was able to close, I think it was a $500 sale, and then one for $1,500. I was regularly able to do this now. And with that, I said, Epiphany, I got this idea here. I think I'm going to really shift my training business and focus on sales because I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who just have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to selling. It doesn't feel natural. It feels contrived. You feel like you're, breaking someone's arm to make a sale, and all that is so unnecessary. So, of course, I work with people who are where I was, and I helped them to be a lot more effective in sales. Okay, so there you go. What are we talking about today? We're talking about 3 hacks to overcome objections. We're talking about the sales process, and there's a lot of steps in the sales process. First there is, generating leads, and then there is the setting up the appointment and all of that. And then you come to the part in your sales presentation where more times than not, you have a prospect object. They're asking you questions about your product or your service. Now, there's a lot of folks at this point who often just freeze up. They start stuttering. They feel incompetent. They get tongue tied when it comes to that part of the sales process. I even know a few clients who actually take it as personal rejection when there is personal, take it personally when they hear an objection. And what I'm saying to you is normalize an objection. It is actually a great sign when you have a prospect objecting because they are really considering buying from you, but they have questions. And the typical objections that I hear are number one, the price is too high. Or two, let me get back to my spouse and I'll talk to you later. Or they'll say things like, I don't have the time. There are many more ways in which a prospect objects, but those are some of the more popular ways that this happens. But I want you to really focus on a mind shift here because we can, scare ourselves through our self talk out of a sale rather than handling an objection professionally. And as in all things sales, it is important that we show up professionally trained. It's important that we show up with some tools in our back pocket and that we're prepared for this. And that's one thing that we do in our Mega Money Sales program is that we prep ourselves through using templates and scripts, best practices, and also mock presentations so that we can get that skill deeply embedded, right, in us so that we're showing up and knocking it out of the park. So, what are three simple ways, and there are many ways, but at least three simple ways that you can use these tools to help you make a sale, get through the objection, and make a sale? Well, I want to say this. Let me preface this by saying that usually when a prospect is sharing an objection with you or a question, oftentimes we need to go a little bit deeper because they have deeper concerns that they may not be stating. Maybe a deeper concern could be that, you know what, I don't know if I, of all people, can make this transformation. I've been this way for way too long. Or another deeper concern could be they're wondering if you are able to really provide that necessary change that they need to experience to get to the next level. Those are a couple reasons why we need to ask deeper, more probing questions. All right. So here's the first one. If, for instance, someone's saying, oh my gosh, your prices are way too high, you can simply solve the problem. This is number one way to handle an objection, and that is to solve the problem. The price is too high. Well, maybe you can offer a way for them to pay in 3 installment payments, right? You solve their problem. Now, can we move forward with this sale? That is a surefire way to handle an objection, solve the problem, the concern that the prospect has. Now, number two, another thing that you can do is simply just isolate their concern and simply say, other than the price being too high, do you have any deeper concerns that I can address so that we can move forward? Maybe you learn at that point, for instance, well, my deeper concern is, can you pull this off? Can I really be able to experience the transformation that you say that I can have? And now you can work with that. Oh, well, look, I can give you a 30 day guarantee. So, You're not totally satisfied. I will give you back full payment without any consultation, without any issue. Well, now you've dealt with that concern. So being able to isolate, for example, maybe a prospect might say, I really want to talk to my spouse before I make this purchase. You could say the same thing other than talking to your spouse. Is there anything else that I need to know to help you and to assist you in making a final decision about this offer? So, isolation, you can use this in a lot of different ways. The third way to handle an objection simply is to use stories. Do you know that stories are very, very powerful? That stories is a very subtle way of selling, that it keeps us captivated, it is memorable. And in our program, we really work on the best structure to a story so that you get more bang for your buck. But you can use stories in any part of the sales process, but especially when it comes to handling an objection. Let me give you an example. Your price is too high. Why is your price so high? Well, you can respond by saying, you know what? I had a prospect who had a similar concern. Yes, I remember. Her name was Marie. Marie was someone who was an insurance adjuster. She lost her job during the pandemic. And here she is looking at her 2-year-old son. Her husband has a job that just makes basic wages. And she decided, you know, I'm going to bank on myself. I'm going to start a business. And so she started looking around for sales training. And I was able to have a discovery chat with her. When I told her the price, let's say $4,000, she said, oh my goodness, $4,000. I'm barely able to put bread on the table. $4,000. And so she really, really had to consider this. But tough times calls for tough measures. She decided, I'm going to sell my car. Yeah, I'm going to sell my car. And she sold it. She sold it for $3,500, and she was able to pay off the sales program. And the program lasted 6 months. She was someone who sat in the front of the class, asked a lot of questions, did everything that she knew to do. She was a model student. She mastered sales as well as learning her area of expertise. And here, 1 year later, she doubled. Can I say that one more time? She doubled her income. And now she could buy a couple of cars if she wishes. So there are ways to find the money for coaching that is going to transform your life. That is an example of using a story to handle an objection. All right, so let's go over the 3 ways to handle an objective effectively. We've talked about solving the prospect's problem. So whatever the problem is, we're going to do our best to come up with an answer that's going to help them make a decision. We want to lead them into making a decision about our product or our service. Number 2, we talked about isolating whatever their objections or question, whatever it is, we're going to isolate it because we want to go a little bit deeper to see what are the real reasons why you're not sure at this point. And we want to address those deeper reasons. Once they're addressed, I'm telling you, it's much easier to move forward and close business. And then there's the third part. The third part is to use stories, to use stories in our sales presentations, but particularly as it relates to handling an objective. Handling an objective is is something that we can do very well when we use stories. So my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, out of the three very simple suggestions that I gave about how to handle an objection, which one is your favorite one? Maybe you can even type it in and give me a comment. Which is your favorite objection? Which one do you think that you're going to use? And why? Just go ahead and type that in the chat. Oh, I love this. I cannot see the name of the person, but it says the woman in your story was not afraid to take a risk. Her vision and imagination carried her over and through the objection. Absolutely. Scared as she was, trembling as she was, she said, this is enough of the 9 to 5. I'm getting laid off here. Let me see if I can make a business work. And yes, she did that, and it paid off handsomely. Oftentimes, our vision does pay off handsomely if we get the right support. The right support is everything. So now, think about that. That's your homework. I want you to think about which one of these techniques am I going to use in handling objections. Facebook user, I love the participation. In addition to that, is there anything else? This helps me to focus on what the real objection is. Absolutely. The real objection is what we need to get to. So to let you know, I definitely am someone who loves working with someone who's sales resistant to get over that hump. So they're making whatever their definition of wealth is, and to make it regularly each and every month. If it's $100,000 for you a year, if it's $200,000 a year, fantastic. But guess what? Guess what gets you over fear and anxiety and this resistance? It is having a sales process. Mastering the sales process, understanding what is the best practices in the industry, mindset, and having a lot of practice through mock presentations. These are the things that make you an expert in sales. And this program that I'm offering you is very powerful and can help you make sales from here until infinity. Over and over again, you can replicate this. Once you get your sales process down, once you get your scripts in order, then you can predict that you're going to close a lot more sales. So what I'm asking you to do is to enter into a discovery call with me. And this discovery call, of course, is no obligation. What we're going to do is see where you're bottlenecked when it comes to sales. Number 2, I'm going to give you a solution. And number 3, you're going to get a feel for what it is like to work with me. So if there are any questions, please go ahead and post them in the comments. I'm going to be looking for the next few minutes. But these kind of things are key to building up our skill level. And of course, dealing with our mindset, because the truth of the matter is that many of us have had past dealings with salespeople who were unprofessional. We've had past dealings where I ended up buying something I really didn't want because I felt like I was being pushed to do so. I want to tell you that sometimes those beliefs about salespeople, they're lodged in us, and we need to get it up, get it out, transform it, because the truth of the matter is that sales is a very honorable profession, that it is can be one in which you show integrity and honesty and really do get the help that your prospect needs. So that's what sales is at its best. Well, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the comments, and I'll come back around at a later time and I'll answer any and all comments, and I will answer any questions. Until next time, everyone, peace and blessings. Bye bye for now.